schedule. So without further ado, this is Brian Honan. He's going to talk to you about hacking senior management. I don't need to tell you anymore. And then it's into lunch, so over to you, Brian.
Okay. Afternoon, everybody, and thanks for showing up. I do appreciate that I am the person standing between you and lunch, so I shall try and make this as informative and as painless as possible. I'm going to talk to you today about hacking senior management because I've seen get a lot of feedback from peers and colleagues and everybody else about one of the biggest challenges we have as security professionals is trying to convince the boardroom and senior management to take security seriously. And so I'm going to run through a few slides and try and get it across. As I said, my name is Brian Honan. Just a bit of information about me. There's my contact details. You can follow me on Twitter. My blog is there. I'm in security over 20 years now in various different roles, so I've gone through the techie. I am in ISO 27001 lead author, so I could empathize a lot with Tom's talk there as well. I run my own independent consulting firm out of Dublin, doing that for the past 8 years. And I also head up and run Ireland's computer emergency response team. I'm editor of Bsides London and contribute to a number of publications, and I've written 1 or 2 books as well. So just a little bit of background on me there. So if you look at the past 12 months, there's been a lot of mainstream media attention given to security breaches. Like if you take 5 years ago, or a few years ago, breaches were very much covered by a lot of our own industry media. So SE Magazine, the Register, or whatever would have covered a lot of the stories that we'd be familiar with. But there wouldn't be anything in the Telegraph or on BBC News or any other mainstream media. A lot of these stories would never make it. But we're seeing that changing now. We've had a lot of very high public breaches that have got to into those areas. So obviously, because our board members and our senior management are watching those news channels or reading those papers, they're aware of those security breaches too. So it's not just ourselves anymore who are aware of what's going on, it's senior management as well. And thanks to Tripwire, this slide demonstrates how the threats we're facing has changed over the years. So when I first started off in IT as a 2-year-old in 1980, the late 80s, all we had to worry about was mainframes. Everything was located in one big central area with these dumb terminals spread all over the place, and that's all we had to secure. PCs and Unix and other machines started to come out of universities and into mainstream, and people started to play with them and hack with them. But it was very much curiosity. It was the true hacker term that we had back then, was breaking the systems to fix them. And that kind of stayed steady until the late 80s, early 90s, and then we had still the hackers there to break fix the type scenario. But we also had us doing for personal fame. So we're defacing websites. We're looking to become well-known. And again, through the 90s, that kept very much the same. But what we've seen in this century, in the past decade or so, organized crime is getting more and more involved. And they've got money to throw behind this stuff, so their threats are becoming more sophisticated. We're also seeing industrial and national espionage taking place as well. So even more resources behind that and bigger threats that we have to face. And of course, can't do a presentation nowadays without talking about Anonymous, but they have again raised the profile of security. And you can argue for the good or the bad, but they have done that. And it's something that we have to accept. A lot of their attacks have hit the media. And, just, was it last week they hit some UK government sites? So, and they're quite hitting quite a lot of places. Users, bring your own devices, USB keys, Dropboxes, social media. Information leakages happen a lot more in our environments because of users. Now, users, they may not be doing this stuff maliciously. They're trying to do a job. They're trying to get work home. They can do it at the weekend, or they want to share information with a colleague or a business partner. And because our IT security is so strict, we don't allow large attachments in our email, or we don't allow FTP out of the environment. Well, we'll use Dropbox instead, or we'll use an attachment on Gmail or some way, shape, or form, and that information then goes outside our control, and it's a threat. But so users are becoming a problem. We have a lot of business drivers as well. So in the UK, you've got the Information Commissioner's Office, and within other European countries, you've got similar data protection requirements as well. PCI DSS is a big requirement as well for any companies that are doing any sort of work with credit card payments. Depending on what industry you're in, you've got other security requirements as well. It could be in pharmaceutical or financial. You've got specific industry regulations there. So there's a lot of drivers there on the business side. There is no business or environment nowadays that does not use IT for their business. They would not survive without IT. I'm staying in one of the hotels over beside InfoSec, and their IT system was down on Monday when I checked in. They were doing an upgrade. I don't we all love that. Our IT system has been upgraded, and they had this nice sign on the door as you walked in. Between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m., our IT system has been upgraded. It should not affect users or affect guests. These guests were queuing out across the foyer, out the front door, and out onto the street, waiting to check in as they try to do it manually. So, IT really is becoming critical to how businesses perform and process information. So, when you look at all those drivers, the media, the attention the press are given and mainstream press are given to tax, the compliance requirements, and I know we all hate that word, compliance, but it is a business driver. Management's reaction should be, get this done. Go and fix this, make us secure. They should be giving us plenty of this. Loads of money. We should be all dealt by going, lovely, jubbly, But it's not happening. This is the reaction. How many people get that reaction when they go to talk to management about security? Not you again. What's wrong now? And that's what happens. Or, it's not going to happen to us. We're not going to be hacked. It's not our problem. Go away, leave me alone. That is very often what we get. Which means we're stuck there with the problem, with the headaches. We're constantly shouting, my God, we're going to be hacked, we're going to be compromised, and you're not listening to me. And we have all the headaches to do. We have no budget, no resources. Our hands are tied. We're not allowed to talk to our peers in the industry because we don't want to admit we've got problems in our security. So we're very much, we're like, I often liken it to being in a fight against a prize fighter with one hand tied behind your back. We're struggling. We don't have what we need. So why do we have those problems? I want us to try and think today as a community and figure out, well, what is the problem? And is the problem with management and senior management, or where my talk is going to go and might upset a few people, or is the problem with us? Yes. Are we doing it the wrong way? And if we are, how do we fix that? So this is where we're going to go through this. And, hands up, anybody in this room who can hack a Windows box? Oh, come on, I was hoping a few more than that. Linux? Apple? Yeah, easy. Application security. Okay, I won't put my hand up with that one because I couldn't. Last time I coded was in DBase 3, and that's a long time ago. But quite a few of you could hack your way through code quite easily. No problem. Comes to this guy, though. We face a stone wall. We have a problem. We have social engineers in the audience here who can social engineer their way into an organization, but why can't we social engineer management? They're the people we should know better and know best. And the reaction I often get is we think management are stupid. They don't understand what the problem is. Why are they doing this? They are stupid. But that's not the case. And actually, this talk was inspired by I was speaking at BrewCon 2 years ago. And anybody's been to BrewCon? Anybody who hasn't? Go. Seriously. It's brilliant. One of the evenings we were sitting in the pub, and I was sitting at a table, and like me being in the talk on the management side and being slightly more advanced in my years than some of the attendees, two of the guys sitting at the table, very, very bright young guys, I think they're in their 20s from Germany. They'd just given a fantastic talk on how to hack PGP routers. Actually, it was quite scary. And the conversation was going, they were going, the managers don't understand anything, they're stupid, they're crazy, they should know this stuff. Why don't they know it? And my argument back was, guys, the internet didn't appear out of nowhere. There was no magic pixie dust that came along and the internet appeared. Your managers and their managers, they're the ones who built that in the past. They're the ones who, they may not be technical in the stuff you're doing today, but 20, 30, 40 years ago, they were the techies. So don't insult them and think that they don't understand technology. They do. their focus and their main lines of business have moved on. They've changed, and they've got different drivers that they have to look. So, they're not stupid. They are quite and you don't become a senior management manager or a CEO or a CTO or a CFO by not having some wherewithal about you. You have to be, have a bit of brain power to do that. They're also very busy people, right? Particularly in the senior board level or senior management level. They probably have 20, 30 people reporting to them, each with different business lines that they're responsible for. They don't have the time to get into the nitty-gritty about everything that we know about. They can't. They can't be experts in finance, expert in industrial law, experts in copyright law, experts in human relationships, experts in IT. They just don't have the time. They depend on us to be those experts in our different fields and to be able to present to them in a very concise way what it is we're trying to do so that they can make the decisions, or if they can't make the decisions, they can then present what our issues are to the board. They, in effect, have to become our salespeople up higher. So it's important to remember that. They are very busy. They only have a certain amount of time to do things. So I'm going to try and see, how do we solve this? How do we get around this particular problem? One thing we have to do is get inside their head. Think about how management think. What are their particular drivers? What keeps them going? And when we think about that, as I said earlier on, they have businesses to run. So they have to worry about goals, stakeholders, board reports, industry reports, auditors that come in and look at their various different body parts, as they did to talk beforehand. They've got their own bosses to worry about. They have to perform for their bosses. They have their own personal annual reviews to do as well. They have their own annual goals to do as well. Remember, they are individuals. They have careers that they have to be concerned about as well. There's compliance issues they have to be responsible for. At the end of the day, if we don't do our job, it is our managers who get the blame. And then it comes down very often. Somebody says, shit gathers momentum as it comes down. So make sure nothing comes down from the top. And they've got very restricted budgets. They have to manage all those budgets as well. And we're one of many different groups who are trying to shout at them to get a slice of that action. And then when we talk security, we actually have our own language. Even within IT, we have our own language. We talk about things that aren't used a lot. And some of the phrases are up there. We've got hacker, worm, viruses, bug. And then we moan when people talk, we moan when people say the soccer website was hacked and it was DDoSed. We get anal about those sort of things. But this is the language and lexicon that we use. But when we use those words, this is what non-IT security people hear. Oh, yeah, virus, yeah, that's something, what are you talking about? And some of the terms we use actually can be quite difficult for non-techie people to understand. When we say our data has been stolen, what does that actually mean? If I was to come up to you now and take your wallet and run out the door, and if I can do it fast enough, I have stolen your wallet. It's gone. I don't have it anymore. If I take a copy of your wallet or a copy of your data, I haven't stolen it really, have I? You still have a copy there. So it's, our language has to change, and we have to make sure that this is not what they hear, that they hear the right phrases. And when we talk security, they think it's money down the drain yet again. I've often heard the reaction from senior management going, what do you mean it's not secure? Didn't we pay money for that system? Didn't we buy that server and that operating system? What do you mean we have to spend more money to secure it? We have to buy more products? It just seems to be one bill after another bill that we have to pay, and that is the problem. And we forget other costs. We ourselves are not very good at presenting business cases to management. We run up and we say, yeah, we need a firewall. It's going to cost 10,000, I was going to say euros, but we'll use the British euros, 10,000 pounds. Or whatever, that's an expensive firewall, 5,000 pounds, or whatever the price is going to be. We just say the firewall is going to cost this. We forget about installation costs. It's going to take an engineer 2 days to come in on a daily rate. We forget about the training around that. We forget about maintenance and support costs that we might have to ensure. We forget that we may have to upgrade or change other devices on the network that might depend on it. So the bill grows and grows and grows. And we forget about other indirect costs. What about our own time that we are now spending on configuring and managing that device? That's time that we're not doing the job we've been paid for previously. And we forget about the opportunity cost to the organization as a whole. If our firewall costs £10,000, that's £10,000 less than the business has to spend on something else, say marketing. And as a business person looking goes, £10,000 on a piece of tin, shiny lights, or £10,000 on an advertising campaign that could bring us in more money and maybe more revenue. And that's what we often forget. So we often forget these things, and we need to remember that when we buy something or propose a solution to clients, to managers, it's not just the price tag on the box. And this also goes for open source stuff as well. Open source, we may say it's free, but think of all the other costs we just talked about there, the training, the maintenance, etc. That has to be taken into account as well. And this is where management goes, we're like, what are you talking about? You've just told me it's going to cost this, and now you're coming for more money, or we're still not secure, but you just told me to buy this and we'd be more secure. And now, so that confusion comes in, and management don't like confusion. As I said earlier on, they've only got finite pieces of time. They have to make decisions. They don't like having gray areas. We have to manage them as managers. That's what we do. That's in the title. You manage. But the easier we can make decisions for people, the better. We cause confusion. It makes them more or less to trust us. So, like any system that we want to hack, let's learn and understand the senior management system so that we can get what we want. First thing I would say, learn about the business you're in. I don't care if that's a university or a bank, an accountancy firm, a software development company, a telecoms company, whatever business you're in, learn about it. What are the key business drivers for that business? What is it that your manager gets marked on at the end for their annual review, and their manager up above? How many people here have read the annual report of the organization they work for? Okay, that's good. A few, but disappointingly, so there's still quite a lot who haven't. And even if you, as I said, work for an educational environment, still treat that as a business, because they still have to get students in the door and pay for fees and etc. So understand what the business is. Go and talk to other people in the business. Try and figure out what are their pain points. So go and talk to the marketing manager and say, or the sales manager, and what are the problems you have? How can we help you do your business? As opposed to what we often say, how do we stop a breach? How do we stop sales guys from losing information? We should be asking, how can we make sure your salespeople have the information they need when they need it, and securely? So go and find out what the business drivers are, and then try and align your goals with that. Reduce the FUD, okay? Every computer virus or every major attack does not necessarily mean we're going to be victims. Let's stop trying to panic people into making decisions. Bad decisions are made in knee-jerk reactions to situations. And if we keep running as Chicken Little to senior management saying, here's another problem, we need to fix it. Here's another problem, we need to fix it. That is going to give the wrong reactions as well. Let's focus on the benefits of what we're trying to do. Okay, so going back to the costs we said earlier on about how we're bad at doing cost and solutions. We're also bad at giving the benefits for solutions. So if we have a problem in our organization, for example, say with password management, that users are constantly resetting passwords or looking for new passwords, do a bit of analysis and figure out how does that impact the organization. So go to the help desk. Ask them how many password reset calls they have in a month. And then analyze that and see, well, if we had a self-help password management system where the user could reset the passwords themselves, that potentially could save the organization money. Or if we've suffered X amount of breaches last year because of a particular application or a vulnerability that we still haven't dealt with, or approach we haven't taken, try and cost what that is to the organization, and then whatever solution you're presenting, present the benefits. Now, it may not, let's be careful, there may not be a direct cost-benefit ratio here where, the problem costs this and our solution costs that, so therefore you're saving a huge chunk of money. There may be no savings, but what we actually might be doing is getting other benefits. Maybe we're making a process more streamlined, performance of systems might be better, or whatever. So try and figure out what are the benefits of what we're doing or what we're proposing going to bring to the business. And it's not just we're going to be more secure. There can be other business benefits there as well. And understand that security does have trade-offs. The more secure an environment is, sometimes it can be more difficult for a user to use. So what are the benefits of that? The more security you put on your network, maybe the more impact you might be having on network performance. So think about the trade-offs. And when you identify those trade-offs, think of maybe ways to tackle them, or at least be aware of them, so that when you're talking to managers, you can give them the full information to make their decisions. And we have to act professionally. This is something that I'm probably going to ruffle a few feathers with when I talk about it. But we do think of ourselves as a bit of an elite within the organization. We talk about people coming into security as noobs. We're renowned for not being a welcoming community for people who want to get into security. As Irish Cert, we run a conference, and Stephen and Dale here spoke at it last year. And in parallel to that, we actually have Ireland's Hack Era competition, which is Capture the Flag. And the amount of people we've invited or trying to encourage to take part in that competition, that turn around and say, no, I don't want to do it, I'm nervous, I'm afraid I'll be seen as a failure, that I wouldn't be good enough, and that I'll be slagged off by the good hackers there. So we need to act more professionally and stop this elitism and be a bit more welcoming and help people come in. Because we are not a SWAT team. This is how we view ourselves in quite a lot of cases. But we're not these people. This is how we're viewed by business in a lot of cases. And in fairness, we're security. We are supposed to protect an asset for the organization the same way as physical security protects buildings. That can be the way we're viewed. And if we continue with our elitism and the way we talk about things, we're going to reinforce this image. And that's the problem we're going to have. We're also viewed as the non-fun people. Oh, no, you blocked that pornography site again, didn't you? I can't get onto Facebook because of you guys. Yeah. I can't get that dancing bear attachment that my friend was sending to me because you guys don't let it through. We're viewed as not being the fun people because we say no. We have to say yes, but, and always add the but. Yes, we can do that, but this is what we need to do. So instead, turn away from being Dr. No and into Dr. Yes, and sort of say, this is what we can do, but this is how we need to do it. Speak plainly. I can't emphasize that much. Don't go to management going, oh man, we have a 0 day in our application software that's managing the database, and if a hacker pawns the box, we're screwed. The management's just going to go, what? Go to management and say, we have a problem with a weakness in our system that if we don't fix it, could mean we could get fined by the Data Protection Commissioner because of exposure of records. That's a much better conversation to have with business as opposed to 0 days and vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So translate what we're trying to talk about into language they understand. And a lot of that language is a risk management approach. So, if you're going to take the meat of the leopard there, maybe wait till he's gone, or take a bit more of a big risk management approach. So, I'm not going to, there'll be a few talks about risk management, but just to reiterate, it's the vulnerability, threat, impact, likelihood. So, rate your issues like that and present them to management so they can understand it. And engage with the business. Use the business to help you do what you want to do. So if we're trying to get better awareness out, we'll go to the PR and the marketing people. They're experts at putting spin and everything on stuff. Go and talk to them and ask them, how do we present these things better? Engage with the community. Use the newsletters or any internal social media you might have to promote security within the organization so that we're seen as a proactive bunch of people and not just a whole bunch of geeks stuck in the corner who only come out like Frankenstein when there's a problem. You know, let's engage with the business and be seen to be visible and working with them. Because we have to work together. We can't, you know, it's not our job alone to secure our environments. It's the business job to keep the system secure. And if we don't engage with the other users and other people in business, we have a weakness there. And it may not be us, but it's the other part of the business. So we need to get everybody working together to fix that. So I know it's lunchtime, so I don't know if there's any time for questions, but I'm quite happy to take some. Yeah?
If anyone has a question.
In about 10 years of delivering security in one format or another, mostly pen testing, I estimate only one of my reports has been read by board members.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, that's where the real firewall is. The worse the findings, the less likely they are to actually hear about them.
That's probably correct, but I'd turn the question back is how are the reports presented to management? Were they done on a risk basis, like here the...
PDF to the IT department. Never gets past the IT department.
Well, see, and I think that's the problem we have as well, is that information security, in a lot of cases, reports to IT. And very often there's a conflict there. As a CIO, my job is I have to look after SLAs and keep systems up and running. And now you're coming with a report saying to me that I have to take my systems down to patch them. You know, that can be conflict. So, you know, we do have a challenge there. And hopefully some of the stuff we talked today can help maybe talk to the IT director or the IT people and sort of engage with them and figure out how we can get them to pass that on to management. Or, coming back to Tom's talk earlier on, I do security assessments as well. And I've often been asked by the IT person to ensure I put certain things in the report because he's tired of them not getting through. That could be another way to use. You can use your auditor to help you get key things through as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. We are going to have to wrap it up there. It's one of those, you know, Bsides is all about engagement. So I'm sure, Brian, you're up for having discussions over lunch.
And
if
beers.
you're hanging around.
And beers.
So, yeah, if you've got more, do that. I've got a couple of really quick announcements. So before that, if you just want to join me and say thanks to Brian.